The bridge of the UNSC Indomitable hummed with the quiet efficiency of a ship at the edge of known space. Captain Diana Ross stood before the viewport, watching stars streak past as her destroyer patrolled the border between human territory and the neutral expanse beyond. It was supposed to be a routine patrol, boring even. That changed the moment Ensign Martinez's hands flew across his console. Captain, emergency distress signal bearing 270, distance 43 light-years. It's not human. Every head on the bridge turned. First contact situations were handled by diplomats and science vessels, not military destroyers. Diana moved to Martinez's station, her boots striking the deck with purpose. Put it through. The bridge speakers crackled with static, then resolved into a voice, high-pitched, trembling with terror. The universal translator struggled with the unfamiliar phonetics before words emerged. Overwhelming force. New Haven Colony, 20,000 civilian, children, please. Anyone. Dravok Raiders. We have no defenses. Please. The message repeated, growing fainter with each cycle. Queely, Lieutenant Chen said from the tactical station, pulling up data on her screen. Peaceful species. Herbivores. They're signatories to the Galactic Concordat, but they have no military. New Haven is their agricultural colony, families, schools, research stations. And the Dravok? Diana asked, though she already knew. Raiders. They've been hitting undefended colonies for months. The Galactic Council keeps issuing statements and forming committees, but no one actually does anything. Diana's jaw tightened. The Dravok were predators in every sense. Technologically advanced enough to be dangerous, organized enough to strike fast and disappear. They took what they wanted. Resources, technology, prisoners to sell on black markets that the civilized galaxy pretended didn't exist. Time to New Haven at maximum burn? 14 hours, Captain. But ma'am, Chen hesitated. That's 30 light-years into neutral space. We'd need authorization from Fleet Command, and they'd need approval from the Galactic Council. That could take days, maybe weeks. The distress call played again. This time Diana heard something beneath the words. The sound of explosions. Distant screams, a child crying, "Get me Admiral Brooks now." 43 minutes later, Diana stood in her ready room, facing the holographic projection of Admiral Henry Brooks. His weathered face was grave, but his eyes held something else, a spark she recognized. It was the same fire that burned in every human who'd ever looked at injustice and said, "Not on my watch." Captain Ross, you understand what you're asking? The Indomitable is one destroyer. Intelligence suggests at least 5 Dravok Raiders at New Haven, possibly more. They outgun you, and you'll be violating half a dozen treaties just by crossing into neutral space. Yes, sir. I understand perfectly. Brooks was silent for a moment. When he spoke again, his voice was softer. When I was your age, I watched good people die because someone decided to follow proper channels. I swore I'd never let bureaucracy trump doing what's right. He straightened. As of this moment, the UNSC Indomitable, Resolution, and Defiant are reassigned to rescue operations. I'm scrambling 2 more destroyers from Sector 7 and bringing the carrier Thermopylae with a full fighter complement. We'll rendezvous with you at New Haven. Diana felt her heart surge. Sir, that's your entire command group. The Council can court-martial me if they want. Brooks's smile was grim. But first, we're going to save those people. You have your orders, Captain. Get to New Haven. Buy time until we arrive. And Ross, don't you dare die out there. Wouldn't dream of it. Sir? The crew of the Indomitable worked with focused intensity as they burned toward New Haven. In engineering, Commander Sarah Kim pushed the fusion reactors to 110%, well beyond safety margins, but safety margins were for peacetime. In the hangar bay, pilots pre-flighted their interceptors, checking weapons loads and running combat scenarios. On the bridge, Diana addressed her crew. 342 souls, all of them volunteers who'd signed up knowing that humanity's military existed to protect, not just humans, but the values they held sacred. We're about to do something that might seem crazy to the rest of the galaxy, Diana began. We're rushing toward a fight that isn't ours to save people we've never met, risking a diplomatic incident that could have consequences for all humanity. The other species out here, they'll call us reckless, impulsive. They'll say we don't understand the complexity of galactic politics, she paused, meeting the eyes of her crew. But here's what they don't understand about us. We come from a planet that tried to kill us every single day of our evolution. We learned to survive by working together, by never abandoning our own. And somewhere along the way, our own grew to mean anyone who needed help. So yes, we're going to New Haven. We're going to face raiders who outgun us, and we're going to buy those Queely families time to survive. Because that's what humans do. The bridge erupted in affirmation, not cheers, but the grim, determined acknowledgement of warriors who understood the cost and chose to pay it anyway. 12 hours later, the Indomitable dropped out of FTL at the edge of the New Haven system. The sensors immediately lit up with contacts, 7 Dravok raiders, not 5. And far below, on the surface of the colony world, fires burned. Battle stations, Diana commanded. Let's show these bastards why you don't mess with humanity's neighbors. The Dravok fleet hung in orbit around New Haven like vultures circling prey. Their ships were brutal things, all angles and armor plating bristling with weapons designed for one purpose: overwhelming less advanced species through sheer firepower. 7 raiders against 1 human destroyer. By any rational calculation, the Indomitable should have retreated. Humans had never been particularly rational. Tactical analysis, Diana ordered, her voice steady despite the adrenaline singing through her veins. Lieutenant Chen's fingers danced across her console. 7 contacts confirmed. 4 frigate class, 3 destroyer equivalent. They're in low orbit, bombardment formation. Reading multiple atmospheric shuttles, they're landing ground forces. She paused, her expression darkening. Captain, I'm detecting weapons fire on the surface. The colony's main settlement is under direct assault. Diana's hands clenched behind her back. Every second they spent analyzing was another second those families suffered below. Ensign Martinez hailed them. All frequencies. The young officer worked quickly. Channel open, Captain. Diana stepped forward, her voice cutting across space like a blade. Attention, Dravok vessels. This is Captain Diana Ross of the United Nations Space Command destroyer Indomitable. You are hereby ordered to cease all hostile actions against the New Haven colony immediately and withdraw from this system. You have 30 seconds to comply. The response came quickly, a guttural laugh that the translator rendered with disturbing clarity. Human. The Dravok commander's voice dripped with contempt. You are alone, outnumbered, and far from your territory. Leave now and we will forget this insult. Interfere and we will add your wreckage to our collection. This is not your concern. Diana smiled, though there was no humor in it. See, that's where you're wrong. You made it our concern the moment you hurt innocent people. Final warning, withdraw or be removed. Another laugh. Your species is as foolish as we've heard. Very well, human. Learn why the Dravok are feared. The channel cut. 3 Dravok frigates broke formation, their weapon systems powering up as they turned toward the Indomitable. Evasive pattern Delta 4, Diana commanded. Launch all interceptors. Tactical, I want firing solutions on those frigates. Engineering, divert all available power to forward shields and weapons. Helm, bring us in fast and low. Use the planet's gravity well. The bridge exploded into controlled chaos. The Indomitable dove toward New Haven, accelerating at speeds that would have been suicidal without inertial dampeners. Behind them, the 3 Dravok frigates gave chase, their plasma cannons lighting up space. Interceptors away. The flight controller reported. 12 human fighters screamed from the hangar bay, their pilots whooping over the comm channels as they engaged. Incoming fire, Chen warned. The ship shuddered as Dravok plasma bolts splashed against the shields. Forward shields at 87%. They're trying to bracket us. Then let's not be where they think we'll be. Helm, emergency deceleration, full reverse thrust. The maneuver was insane, turning a destroyer into a brake at combat speeds. But humans had learned to fly in Earth's chaotic atmosphere, dodging weather patterns that could tear ships apart. The Indomitable seemed to stop in space, and the Dravok frigates, expecting their prey to keep running, overshot by thousands of kilometers. Now, Diana roared. All forward batteries, fire! The Indomitable spoke with the voice of humanity's fury. Railgun slugs moving at a fraction of light speed punched through the nearest frigate's shields like they weren't there. The Dravok ship tried to turn too slow, and the Indomitable's main cannon, a weapon designed to crack asteroids, spoke once. The frigate disintegrated. First blood to humanity, someone shouted. The bridge crew allowed themselves one moment of fierce satisfaction before training reasserted itself. 2 frigates coming about, Chen reported. The destroyers are moving to engage as well. We're about to be surrounded, Captain. Diana studied the tactical display. The Dravok were doing exactly what she'd hoped, focusing on her ship, pulling forces away from the planet. But she'd bought only minutes and Admiral Brooks was still 8 hours out. Then Ensign Martinez spoke up, his voice excited. "Captain, I'm picking up a transmission from the surface. It's the Queely. They say they've sealed their population in underground shelters. The Dravok ground forces are trying to breach them, but the colonists are holding." "Smart," Diana murmured. "The Queely might not have weapons, but they'd built their colony to withstand New Haven's harsh seasonal storms. Those shelters would be tough to crack." "How long can they hold?" "Unknown, ma'am. But they're asking. They want to know if help is really coming. They've heard promises before." Diana grabbed the comm. "Patch me through to the colony directly." A moment later, a new voice filled the bridge, crystalline and melodious despite the fear beneath it. "This is Elder Cora of New Haven. Are you truly here to help us?" "Elder Cora, this is Captain Diana Ross. Yes, we're here and we're not leaving. We've got reinforcements coming. You just need to hold on a little longer."
"Can you do that?"
There was a pause, then, "We can hold." "Thank you, Captain. We did not think anyone would come. The Council said to wait for proper diplomatic channels." "Well, humans have never been good at waiting. Keep your people safe, Elder. We'll handle the rest." As Diana cut the connection, the Indomitable shuddered under sustained fire from the 2 remaining frigates. "4 Dravok destroyers were closing fast, Captain," Chen said quietly. "Even with our maneuverability advantage, we can't fight 7 ships indefinitely." Diana's eyes never left the tactical display. "We don't have to fight them indefinitely, Lieutenant. We just have to fight them long enough." She opened the ship-wide channel. "All hands, this is the captain. We're about to show these raiders what happens when they pick on someone with friends. Remember your training. Trust your crewmates. And let's buy our people on that planet every second we can." The Indomitable turned to face its enemies. 1 ship against 6, backed by nothing but courage, skill, and the unbreakable human spirit. The real battle was just beginning. The next 6 hours were a masterclass in survival against impossible odds. The Indomitable danced through space like a ship possessed, using every trick that generations of human naval warfare had developed. Commander Kim squeezed performance from the engines that should have been impossible, redirecting power in fractions of seconds. Shields to weapons, weapons to thrust back to shields in a constant juggling act that kept them alive. The Dravok fought with brutal efficiency, but efficiency wasn't the same as adaptability. They'd learned to prey on species that followed predictable patterns, that valued their ships and lives above all else. They'd never faced humans. "Incoming missiles bearing 045, Chen called out. "Countermeasures and roll 90 degrees, Diana commanded. The Indomitable twisted, presenting its narrowest profile while chaff and electronic warfare packages filled space with false targets. 2 missiles detonated harmlessly. The third struck a glancing blow that sent shudders through the deck. "Shields at 42%, Chen reported. "We can't take many more hits like that." Diana checked the chronometer. 5 hours, 17 minutes since they'd arrived. The Admiral was still 3 hours out. On the tactical display, she watched her interceptor pilots work miracles, harrying the Dravok capital ships, destroying their supply shuttles before they could reinforce the ground forces, buying seconds that became minutes that became survival. But the math was catching up with them. They destroyed 2 more frigates and damaged a destroyer, but the Indomitable was bleeding from a dozen wounds. Casualties in engineering, hull breaches sealed but straining, and the Dravok kept coming. "Captain?" Martinez interrupted her thoughts. "Transmission from the surface. It's Elder Cora again. She sounds urgent." "Put her through." The Queely Elder's voice was strained. "Captain Ross, the Dravok have brought heavy equipment. They're cutting through our shelter doors. We have perhaps 30 minutes before they breach the main civilian chamber. There are 4,000 people in there, Captain, families, children. If they break through—" She didn't finish. She didn't need to. Diana closed her eyes for 1 heartbeat, thinking. The Indomitable was barely holding together in orbit. She'd already sent every interceptor, every pilot. There was nothing left to— Wait, Elder Cora, how many Dravok ground forces are actively breaching your position? Sensors show approximately 150 at our main entrance with heavy plasma cutters and— Stand by. Diana muted the channel and turned to her tactical officer. "Chen, if we redirect all power to engines and made an atmospheric entry, could we perform a low-altitude strafing run?" Chen stared at her. "Captain, the Indomitable isn't designed for atmospheric combat. The stress on the hull in our current condition. We might break apart, but could we do it?" The lieutenant ran calculations, her face pale. "Theoretically. One pass, maybe two, before structural failure becomes critical. But ma'am, that would leave us defenseless against the orbital forces. Diana looked at the tactical display one more time. Her ship was dying by inches anyway. They'd bought time, yes, but not enough. Unless... Commander Kim, Diana spoke into the engineering channel. I need atmospheric capability. I don't care if the ship flies apart afterward, just get me 2 minutes in atmosphere. Kim's response was immediate. You'll have it, Captain. Kim out. Diana opened the fleet channel. All interceptors, this is Ross. Break off and form defensive screen at coordinates I'm sending. You're about to have company. She turned to her helm officer. Take us down. The Indomitable screamed through New Haven's atmosphere like a meteor, trailing fire and debris. Alarms wailed as hull plates buckled. In engineering, Commander Kim and her team performed impossible feats, holding the ship together through sheer will and desperate improvisation. On the surface, Elder Cora watched her people huddle in the shelter as plasma cutters carved through the final door layer. Children clung to their parents. The elderly sat quietly accepting. They'd heard promises before from species that talked much but acted little. Then the world shook. The Indomitable came in at treetop level, its ventral railgun speaking with apocalyptic fury. Drevok ground forces had one moment to look up, before humanity's answer to their cruelty arrived in a storm of hypervelocity projectiles. The heavy equipment vanished. The breach team scattered, then ceased to exist. The destroyer pulled up, engines screaming, trailing smoke and fire. It climbed back toward orbit, atmosphere tearing at wounds that grew wider with each second. Shelter breaches sealed, Martinez reported, grinning despite the chaos. The Dravok ground forces are... Well, they're gone, Captain. Good. Diana gripped her command chair as the ship shuddered. Now get us back to multiple contacts dropping out of FTL, Chen shouted. It's the fleet. Admiral Brooks is here. The view screen filled with the most beautiful sight Diana had ever seen. The carrier Thermopylae and 5 destroyers materialized in perfect formation, their weapons already hot. Behind them came dozens more ships. Humanity had called in every vessel within range. Admiral Brooks's voice filled the bridge, strong and sure. Captain Ross, you've done enough. Stand down and let us finish this. The Dravok commander, seeing the human fleet arrive, made the only rational decision. His remaining ships fled into FTL, abandoning their ground forces, their wounded, everything. They'd learned a lesson today about humanity. Some fights aren't worth winning. 3 days later, Diana stood on the surface of New Haven, her arm in a sling but her spirit intact. The Indomitable was in dry dock. It would fly again, though Kim said it might take months. Around her, Queely colonists emerged from their shelters, blinking in the sunlight. Elder Cora approached, her crystalline eyes reflecting genuine wonder. Captain Ross, the Galactic Council is not pleased with humanity's actions. They speak of violations, of overreach, of setting dangerous precedents. Diana shrugged. Let them talk. We did the right thing. Yes, Cora said softly. Yes, you did. For 10 cycles, we called for help. The council debated, they formed committees. They issued statements. She looked at the human ships in orbit. You came. When it mattered, when lives hung in the balance, you came. The galaxy will speak of human recklessness. We Queely will speak of human honor. Admiral Brooks joined them, his weathered face creased with satisfaction. The council did send a formal reprimand, he said. Filed it right next to the 300. Applications from other species requesting defensive pacts with humanity. Seems word travels fast about who actually shows up when you call for help. Diana smiled, watching human and Queely children playing together in the settlement square, already fast friends despite the language barrier, because joy needs no translation. Sir, she said, I think we just rewrote the rules of galactic politics. No, Captain, Brooks corrected gently. We just reminded the galaxy what rules should have been all along. Never leave anyone behind, not our people, not our friends, not anyone who needs help. Above them, the Indomitable hung in orbit, battered but unbroken, a testament to human determination and the simple truth that some things matter more than survival. Some things are worth fighting for, and humanity would always fight for them.